All right, we're live. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alex Vidal. I am president of Related ISG International Realty, but my presidency does not compare to the presidency of this guy right here, Carlos Rosso, the president of the Related Group. Probably, if not, no, not probably, it is the largest high-rise developer probably in the world, right?
Probably in the world.
Probably in the world, definitely in the U.S.
Probably in the world, definitely in the U.S.
I'll give my back a little bit to the camera. I apologize, guys, but we have some great questions for Carlos. Carlos, short and sweet, 5-10 minutes. A lot of people want to know, what did you do? By the way, thank you.
Pleasure, man.
I appreciate it. How did you get into real estate? And after getting into real estate, what was your path to become the president of the largest high-rise developer in the country?
I studied architecture in Buenos Aires, in Argentina.
Okay.
Finished my university in 1989. Left to Europe with a summer scholarship for 6 weeks in Belgium.
Wow.
And from Belgium, ended up working 10 years in the Middle East, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Cairo for a construction company, the largest construction group in Belgium. And I always wanted to come back to study to the US and ended up going to MIT to do my master's in real estate in 2000, finished it in 2001. Funny enough, I finished it in August of 2001 without a job. And then 9/11 hit, and I had to change my pitch because I had just spent 10 years working in the Middle East. So I had a little bit of an issue, a marketing issue, and eventually got hired by a bank in Chicago to sponsor my thesis at MIT, which was foreign investment in Latin America and whether it made sense for banks. This was 2001, for banks and pension funds to diversify and go to invest in Latin America. And with that thesis under my arm, I passed a couple of times through Miami and I met George Perez, and half interviewing him for the thesis and half looking for a job. He told me, once you finish writing that thesis that you're not going to use ever again, come and work for us. And I started working at Related in 2002, August of 2002, as an assistant project manager for a rental project in Tamarack.
Okay.
And then, the rest is history. From 2002 till now, I've been surviving and riding these different cycles. And here I am. My background is architecture. I did, as I said, a master's at MIT, which was more focused on business. And then we started the different projects that we've done in Related. Since 2008, after the crisis, we were able to reinvent sort of the whole process of selling real estate here by asking bigger deposits. And I think now we're coming towards the end of this particular cycle in a very sort of gratifying way, seeing all the buildings that we've done.
Absolutely. Now, it's interesting. You've done a lot of buildings. I'm going to jump up into a question I have further up. But let's just talk about it. You've developed a lot. How many projects would you say are under your belt right now? That's actually not even on here.
Yeah.
How many, and what's your favorite?
Related has 75 towers or projects under development. In the condo division, we have around 30 of those. That's the two divisions that I manage, which are the condominium divisions here in South Florida and the international condo division. We have projects not only here, but we have projects in Mexico, in Argentina, in Brazil. We had projects in the past in Colombia. We were just talking this morning with a big group to develop something in the Bahamas. So we are a little different than the traditional developer of South Florida. George has been able to diversify the company and position each division in a little different way, so that when we have down cycles like this one now on the condo side, the company still keeps going with the multifamily or the affordable housing.
What's been your favorite project so far that you've been involved in?
I think this project, the Paraíso, the Paraíso is very sort of close to my heart because it's a site that I found, and it's around 11 acres. And initially we developed the first two towers, Paraíso Bay and Gran Paraíso, and then we partner up with different partners to do one Paraíso and Bay Views. And right now we have over 1,400 units all being delivered, and I think it's a fantastic new neighborhood that has been created here, including Biscayne Line, which is
I don't know. It doesn't come out in the camera, but we'll show you when we're done.
So the public access, the beautiful restaurant from Michael Schwartz that everybody should visit here called Amara, and I think it's really gratifying to see the influence that you can have in a neighborhood like Edgewater with this type of buildings.
You guys have turned Edgewater into the hotspot.
Yes. Edgewater, it was called Edgewater. Now it's called Main Water. You're no longer on the edge.
Now you've talked a lot about the cycle and how we're finishing the cycle. When do you think the next cycle is going to really pick up, and how does that tie into when Related plans to start pre-construction again?
It's difficult to measure because we depend on the market, and we don't know what the market is going to do. I just actually landed yesterday night from Turkey. I went to Turkey, half vacation.
Turkey's a mess right now.
Yeah, half vacation, half sales trip, and it was amazing the interest. Again, the very strong interest of Turkish buyers in Miami. Why? Again, because there's big uncertainties in Turkey. As there are big uncertainties in a lot of emerging markets that lap Miami. Argentina being one of them, Turkey being another one. Turkish currency has devalued close to 50% in the last 3 weeks. Right. For me, for Related, it was not that good because Turkish now are less prone to spend dollars in the U.S. But for me, it was great because I got a hotel bill. I got a hotel bill. I was like, hey, I should stay here now 3 more weeks. But kidding aside, I think Miami it's a great refuge for international buyers. To come and buy property. You're buying the U.S. real estate at a great price compared to anywhere else in the U.S. And you get this, you get these views, you get this incredible water that it's unaffordable in other locations.
Do you think that the currency devaluing so much in such a short amount of time is actually going to prompt them to jump now and not continue waiting?
I think a lot of them are saying, thanks God, I bought some property in the U.S., because I was just talking with that Turkish broker who was telling me, if the Turkish continues depreciating, people are going to be extremely happy because now I'm cashing them out of their cash investments in dollars and they get this big chunk of dollars for them to rebuy or to purchase another property. So again, what is important to note is that real estate reacts to the market. It's not that we create a market. So if the market is there, the cycle is going to be shorter. If the market is not there, the cycle is going to be a little bit longer. Yeah. We've delivered, we produce a lot of real estate in these years, and I think it's great to see that the buyers are all closing and the people understand that we have to go through the cycles.
Now you talked about Edgewater. We joked about Edgewater being main water now. It's no longer on the edge. Is there a neighborhood, and maybe it's still Edgewater, maybe it's kind of shifted a little bit. Is there a neighborhood that Related is eyeing or already has eyed out, that's picked out that they really, really like and are looking forward to?
Well, right now we are very bullish on Wynwood. We just broke ground on our second rental project. We're finishing the first one. We're going to probably start leasing at the end of this year during our Basel, and we broke ground on the second one with Lenny Kravitz as interior designer, Wynwood 26, the Bradley, and we have a third property that we partner up with Tony Cho to develop something on 29th and 1st Street, and we're looking at more opportunities in Wynwood. We are bullish about Broward in general. Fort Lauderdale, for example, seems to be a place where there's still a lot of price potential. Places like Auberge, the project that we have in Fort Lauderdale, right on the beach, it's a great buy. I think it's an amazing buy today.
And a
spectacular location. Again, when you price markets against markets, projects like Hyde Beach House, where we have only 20% of the inventory left, is again a great market. Each neighborhood has its particular tweaks, and a lot depends on the supply and demand of each one of those locations. But in general, I think that all the projects that we have that are not 100% sold out and are like 80 or 70, 90% sold out are still great buys. Armani in Sunny Isles, I think it's an amazing buy right now, particularly after I heard what Ryan Shear was selling his last units at News for. I think our money should sell out in no time. So we are very comfortable in the position that we are right now, and we are looking forward to new projects. We're always looking at new projects.
So looking forward, we have about 4.5, 5 months left in the year. What excites you the most about the rest of 2018?
What excites me the most is to see these buildings all full of people and these neighborhoods all fully activated. The sales center that you're seeing right now is going to be demolished very soon. We have to develop a park here, for example, in Paraiso Bay. We were today still discussing the details of this park. I think that particularly Edgewater has a tremendous potential when the Baywalk is finally done and connecting all the properties from here all the way to downtown. Those are the things that really sort of right now are are what we really want to see complete 100%.
Okay. Now we talked about, you got a lot on your plate. So I don't think you sleep very much. And we were joking, or I was joking with you. I said, what keeps you up at night aside from George Perez? But there's a lot to look forward to in 2018. But what are the things that when you go to bed at night, are keeping you up?
I think actually today we had a meeting on cybersecurity, for example. Okay. Cybersecurity is something that is starting to affect real estate transactions more and more, and that's something that we're all very concerned about. The market in general, for us, it's when are we going to be able to start projects like 1400, like 444, Brickell, the projects where we have already a big investment and that we would like to start sooner rather than later. At the same time, we're always on the positive side looking at things like we have a beautiful site in Pompano Beach, which we're now looking at developing in Pompano on the ocean. So there's a lot of moving parts. We have projects in Buenos Aires, 2 towers that have just stopped off, and that we are reading the newspapers every morning and making sure that all our investments are working really well. And the jobs that we have in Mexico, we have 6 towers in Cancun that we are under construction and looking at starting some new projects in the city of Mexico. So it's a lot of being able to read the newspaper and being able to not only read the news, but also try to read the tea leaves and figure where the markets are going to go in which direction in each one of these locations.
Very good. One last question. We've gone longer than the 5 or 10 minutes, but it's been awesome. This has been one of my favorite. So we were talking about our boys and our kids earlier. You have 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. I have 4 boys. If there's one thing you could tell the younger Carlos Rosso, the Carlos from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, what would you tell him? What advice would you give him?
I tell them the same thing that I think my dad told me always. It's 90% effort and 10% luck. Don't underestimate the luck, but always push on the effort. It's never enough. You're never as good as you think you are. There's always something that can go wrong. So effort and the constant, the continuous, not self-reliance, but the continuous doubting yourself and making sure and thinking that you are not 100% covered is a very important sort of trait in life. I think people sometimes get too comfortable, and that's a huge mistake. We are always doubting ourselves. We have big arguments related with George, and between all of us, we are all the time confronting ideas and sharing ideas to get to the best thing, because nobody owns the truth. And it's a very, very important for kids right now in a society that is instant gratification. I see my kids and I'm like very nervous, thinking, how are these guys really going to understand what effort means? When they can get on their phone today instant gratification, whether playing Fortnite and talking with someone in Argentina or in Brazil while they're playing, and thinking that all this just happens by pure magic.
Just shows up.
Yeah. So I always try to teach my kids, you know, that none of what they see or what they have at home or what I give them is the result of mere luck. You know, it's that 90% that brought them where they are today, and that brought us all where we are today.
Wow, that's touching, man. That's awesome. Carlos, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you guys for watching. We are done.